Hey everyone, TJ from DominateDepression.com. Today I wanted to talk about depression support groups. And the reason why I wanted to talk about them is because one of the reasons why I was able to beat my depression is I stayed away from depression support groups. Now that sounds weird, I know what you're thinking. Why would you stay away from them? Shouldn't you want all the support in the world that you need? And yes, you want to get as much support as you can get. But the reason why I had to stay away from depression support groups is they actually, for the most of the part, maybe there's some depression groups out there that are actually good, they keep you stuck and they keep you depressed. And what do I mean by this? So one time I went on a Facebook support group. It was for depression. I go on there and I posted, and like everything in there was pretty negative. And so I just wanted to give back. I just wanted to help. So I posted, hey, my name's TJ, I beat depression, ask me anything you want, I'm just here to help. I didn't say anything promotional, I didn't mention a website, I didn't mention anything. All I said was, hey, I was depressed, I'm not depressed anymore, I can help you guys. And guess what happened? My post got deleted, right? Like, it got completely deleted. I don't know, I think I might have gotten kicked out of the group as well, which is absurd. Here I am coming in just trying to help people, and my post got deleted. And why did it get deleted? Why did it get deleted? Because this depression support group actually was more like a depression management group. See, when people hear depression, it's a disease. I'm stuck. I can't get out of it. And now you just have to deal with it. So it was just a bunch of people in there being really negative, and trying to just survive and just venting and staying stuck. And so, for example, one of the things that was posted on there, so one person put, you know what's really annoying? When your husband comes back from being on the road, all he does is he's on the phone, he texts and more texts. Am I really that boring? No wonder I'm so depressed half the time. Right? Now, she's venting, okay? I get that. It's okay to vent. There's nothing wrong with venting. It's very healthy to release your, pent-up anger and stuff. Otherwise, you're just going to be suppressed and messed up. But then all the responses was like, why don't you just ask him, am I so boring you have to play with your phone instead of talking to me? That's rude. I'd plain ask him, what's more important, me or your phone, damn it? And so, like, I get where these people are coming from, okay? Because when you're depressed, when I was depressed, it's like, you're stuck, everything is so negative, everything seems so irreversible. But like those responses, those aren't even helpful responses. Like a lot of these groups is kind of the blind leading the blind. If someone comes home, your spouse or your partner, and you say, what's more fucking important, me or your phone, you're not going to create connection. You're not going to create a bond. You're going to build more walls. Like, that's not even good advice. Good advice would be more, hey, how's it going? I noticed you're on your phone a lot. Is there something on your mind? Is work stressful? Because then you get them to open up. You can have an open, honest discussion where it's actually you're trying to help each other, have synergy, a win-win versus a win-lose. Another example is I went into a different depression support group just to answer questions, because I was like, hey, if I post something, I might get deleted and banned. And so one example is she said, this lady she was really depressed. And so I gave her some advice. I was like, hey, have you thought of this? Have you tried this yet? What about this? Are you able to make this just this one tiny step per day? And she said, how can I beat depression when no one will let me? And I said, what do you mean no one will let you? She said, it's impossible because other people won't allow me to. Now, okay, I understand where she is, okay, because I've been there myself. I was super victim mentality. I was so messed up because if you don't know that depression, it's possible to beat depression, obviously you're going to feel that way. If you think that depression is some disease and you're screwed for the rest of your life, you have some certain Paxil deficiency and you have to take medication like someone with diabetes, well then you're going to be messed up. You're going to think you're screwed. And so I know where she's coming from. It's just when I'm trying to help her, she doesn't want to be helped. And so here's the thing. That's the thing. With these depression support groups, people, I don't believe in a lot of them actually want to be helped. It's more like a depression management group. People aren't there to actually fix problems. They're there just venting and venting and venting, and then you get on there and everyone's saying how impossible it is, and then you start to lose your faith in beating depression, and then everything's just negative and you get stuck. It's a cycle. Also, there's something called payoffs of having a negative condition, such as identifying with like, you know, certain health problems or depression. And that's where, like, let's say if you're depressed, there's certain payoffs you can get, such as attention, company, sympathy, feeling justified. So if every time I was depressed, I was like, oh man, I'm feeling really down. Let's say I had a girlfriend, and every time I did that, she came over and helped me and gave me all these hugs. Well, hey, if I'm depressed, I get hugs, I get love, right? And so you have to be careful that you're not getting addicted to these little payoffs and staying depressed when you could be fixing your depression and actually improving, and that's a way better payoff than staying depressed. And a lot of times these groups, they kind of help reinforce those payoffs as well. So the point is, a lot of those groups are just focused on the depression and not on the solution. So I went to a lot of different support groups. I checked a lot of them out. A lot of the ones in person had a major problem because they were all focused on medication. Everyone was going in there just saying, hey, I'm super messed up. Oh, have you tried this medication? Have you tried taking this medication? And they're just misinformed, right? Because medication, if you need it for the short term, maybe, you know, that's something you have to do if you can't even function at all. Sure, like, a lot of people think I'm completely against medication. I'm not. It's just medication doesn't actually solve the root problem. So if you're going to use medication, have a goal in mind and do it short term. Because, hey, most of the people that email me, they are emailing me because they can't get off medication, and it's the most horrible experience of their life. But anyways, I was going to a lot of these depression support groups. Everyone was just going in like super depressed, medication. And so I would leave just feeling, hey, like, I'm depressed, I'm screwed, the world sucks. Like, it didn't really help me that much, right? Going to these Facebook groups and seeing all these people, I didn't really feel like they wanted to be helped either. And so it's kind of like the analogy, so let's say I had an open wound in my leg, right? And it's bleeding. And I went to a support group for open leg wounds. Everyone goes to this support group. We're all just sitting there like, oh, it hurts. My leg is bleeding. I don't even know what's happening. Like, life sucks. Like, someone just cut me up and now I'm here. I'm stuck. And someone else is like, yeah, I fell and I tripped. And someone else is saying, yeah, I got in a car accident. Now my leg's been bleeding ever since. And we're all just sitting there like, yeah, it sucks. Like, yeah, maybe you should, you know, complain more, or maybe you should take some painkillers. When in reality, we should be saying, how do we seal up this wound? Hey, maybe we should put some antibacterial on this and put a bandage on it, and then maybe it will stop bleeding, right? So there's also Chris Kresser. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He has a lot of good information, but he talks about like depression, anxiety. He's a functional medicine doctor. So he talks about a lot of health problems where it's like, let's say, okay, so I've been hiking, I've been walking through here. Let's say I got a rock stuck in my shoe, okay? I got a rock stuck in my shoe, and I'm walking and I'm hiking. I'm like, man, my foot hurts. It's painful. Like, you just say, hey, you know, like, if I had a rock in my shoe, and the common advice is, hey, if you have depression or anxiety, oh yeah, if you have a rock in your shoe, just take some Advil, take some painkiller, it'll help ease the pain, right? So I can be sitting there taking Advil, and maybe my foot doesn't hurt, but hey, in 3 hours, all of a sudden my foot hurts even worse. I'm withdrawing from this painkiller, I need more painkiller, now I'm depending on the painkiller, and I'm walking around messing up my foot because there's a serious issue going on, and now I'm just making the whole problem worse, right? It's the same thing with depression. With the person with the rock in his shoe, you say, take the rock out of your shoe, and then you fix the problem. It's the same thing with depression, right? If you're sitting here, oh, I'm so depressed, my life sucks, I'm a victim, no one allows me to not be depressed, or here, take this medication, yeah, you can be doing that, but you still have your rock in your shoe. You're still walking around messed up. When in reality, maybe you have a thyroid issue. Maybe your gut's messed up. That's what we need to fix. We need to take the rock out of the shoe. We need to fix your gut. We need to fix your thyroid. We need to fix your vitamin D deficiency, and then the depression goes away. So if depression support groups might not be ideal, maybe there's some good ones out there, but for the most part, if you find them, let me know. But if they're not so good, well, how do I get support? Well, you can get support from your friends and family, but the best support groups that I have found are actually support groups for fixing those root causes. So let's say you have a thyroid problem. You would join a support group to fix your thyroid. Let's say you have a gut health problem. You would join a Facebook group or an in-person support group on how to heal your gut. If you have vitamin D deficiency, well, if that's the only thing you have, you're lucky, you just take vitamin D, you don't need a support group, you're good. And so the reason why that's important is because, so after I had beaten all my depression, I moved to Asia to make a website, give back, and help everyone, just to share my story. And when I was there, I ate some really bad food, and I got severe food poisoning, like parasites, gut flora messed up, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, really messed me up. And when that happened, all of a sudden, boom, brain fog, confusion, some depression. I was like, holy crap, this is all the symptoms again, but now it's from a gut problem. And so it was interesting because when I went on a support group for gut problems, they weren't saying, oh, life sucks, you're screwed. They're saying, oh, hey, have you tried this? Check this out. I'd be like, hey, these are my symptoms. What do? They say, have you tried magnesium at night? Have you taken glutamine to heal up you might have leaky gut? Have you tried taking all these other supplements, lauricidin and everything, to kill the bad bacteria, reverse the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth? So everyone in the group, instead of managing it, they were all actively working to solve it. And it was a totally different atmosphere. People were actually willing to do what it takes to solve it, and they knew how to solve it, and they're giving solutions. And I know why this is, okay? I'm not saying depressed people or depression support groups are bad. It's because it's misinformed. Because if you have a gut problem, you have a thyroid problem, you have a problem and now you're trying to fix it. Whereas people with depression, they see it as a disease rather than a symptom. They're seeing depression as this thing, and now they're screwed, like it's this mysterious random force that just comes over you, instead of realizing that there's a cause for it. And again, with the venting thing, when I was in the depression support group, I would even just try to help people, and people would be like, TJ, you couldn't be more wrong. It was more of a battle in there, versus where in the gut health, people would still vent. People would still say, hey, this is horrible. People like, I feel for you. Hope you're doing well. Have you tried this? How are you moving forward? So there's a big difference between, venting and then staying stuck versus venting and being honest and then moving forwards. My last point is that depression itself, since it messes up your filtering process, makes you think that money is evil. It's like when I was depressed, I thought any therapist that charged money, anything that cost money, any doctor, anything was evil. Like I was like, no, anything that costs money is bad. And that is another major thing that'll hold people back. Is because in like these gut health groups, it's like, hey, I need help. I'm gonna buy some glutamine. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna do this. Whereas depression, it's so hard to take initiative when you're depressed. Anything that costs money or anything trying to help yourself, it just feels evil. And plus, if you're depressed and you try something, you pay money and it doesn't work, and you go back into that depression, it feels even worse. So it's a downward spiral. It's a downward negative spiral. And one of the biggest things too that helped me is when I was depressed, I was like, hey, I'm gonna get some tests done. I'm gonna go buy some good food. I'm gonna pay for a good doctor. I'm gonna pay for stuff. Like I'm gonna do these things because I get to invest in myself. And I see in a lot of these other groups like thyroid, adrenal health, people realize, hey, it's okay to invest in yourself if you need it. Like obviously don't just spend money on a bunch of random stuff that you have no idea if it's gonna work, but it's okay to spend money. And now I'm not like, on my website, I know like it might seem like, hey, I'm trying to say, hey, you should buy my program or whatever, even just because I have a program. But the honest truth is, I don't make hardly any money from this. Only reason I do this is because I'm passionate about it and I want to give back. Hey, camera overheated, so I had to move the camera. So the thing is, like, people were saying I was evil because I had this program on my site, but what's crazy is I even offered it for free, and the people that took it for free didn't do anything. They didn't even fix their depression. When I actually charged money is when people fix their depression. So yeah, I charged $90 or so, and it's crazy because if people don't pay, they don't pay attention. They don't take it seriously. And so I have all this free information on my website. I just offer this program if you want to take it. And people were emailing me saying, hey, you're evil. And those people that are saying that, until they get over that, they're not going to fix their depression because they're trapped in that downward spiral thinking everything is evil. It's like, hey, just take my program. If it doesn't work, just ask for your money back. Like, it's no big deal. The problem with depression is it's so hard to take initiative. It traps you in that downward spiral. It's like, how do you actually move forwards, right? I might have been trapped. I might still be depressed if I didn't have a traumatic life experience happen again. Someone else died in my life, my closest friend, and when that happened, it messed me up, and I just said, hey, look, I'm going to beat depression or else, like I'm going to give myself 1 year or I don't even care anymore. And that's the only thing that opened my mind. I'd try, hey, let's try therapy. Hey, let's try nutrition. Hey, let's get some tests done. Let's do this. I was actually focused on the solution rather than just managing and being a victim to the depression. So what do I wish I would have known? Back then, I wish I would have known that depression can be a trial and error process. Not everything's going to work right away. It's going to take a while, it might be painful, and the depression is actually a symptom, and I just have to find out the root cause and then fix that. If I could go back in time, I would have said, hey, I'm depressed, what's causing it? Let's figure out what that is, and then let's solve that. I'd join support groups that focus on the solution, and I'd join support groups that help fix the actual root cause. So with your depression, like, see it as like a signal. It's like on your car, it says, hey, maintenance required. That's kind of what depression is. It's saying, hey, maintenance required. You need some help. And then it's your job to take all the resources you can, figure out what's causing your depression, and then fix that. All right, guys, so in conclusion, realize that depression is a symptom. Be focused on the solution. Look for the support groups that are actually going to move you forwards and not just trap you in that downward spiral that depression is. Realize that depression, by its very definition, is going to create these negative, false thoughts. They're not real. See, a lot of people say, oh, think positive, and that, you say, screw them. I'd say, hey, think reality-based. Think reality-based. Hey, is this depression forever? No. Other people have beaten it. Hey, am I screwed? Do I have a disease forever? Well, wait a minute. What's causing my depression? So, reality thoughts, right? Be in reality. Be solution-focused. Find groups that'll actually move you forward so you don't get all these payoffs, stay stuck in your depression, and then you can find that upward spiral, start feeling a little bit better, start finding solutions, keep moving forward, and then the depression will be gone. I just came out here to record this video, and I just want to record that because, depression support groups, they can keep you trapped, and you don't want to stay trapped. The biggest thing is if you're just there venting, everyone's negative, no one's actually solving depression, it's gonna be like the blind leading the blind, right? It's like if you joined a group on how to make money and everyone was broke, you'd go on there like, how do I make $1 million? And they'd be like, yeah, it's impossible because the government's holding us down. The government won't allow it. The big corporations won't allow it, right? And so if you got a group where everyone's broke, they wouldn't be able to help you make money either. So it's kind of the same thing with depression. Just be careful who you get advice from. Be solution oriented and fix that. Fix your depression. Let's get you better.